She just wanted to go home, but he decided she wasn't a worthy customer for his taxi. 2 minutes later, he was about to realize just how big of a mistake he had made. The night had fallen over the city, and the streetlights cast a dance of shadows and light across the rain-soaked pavement. Naomi Carter, a 34-year-old black woman and a civil rights attorney, pulled her coat tighter against the cold wind. After a long day in court, all she wanted was to go home and enjoy the peace of her apartment. She raised her hand to hail a taxi. Within seconds, a yellow cab slowed down and approached. Naomi stepped forward, but as she leaned slightly toward the window, the vehicle suddenly came to a full stop. The driver, a white man in his 50s with graying hair and a cold stare, looked at her for a few seconds too long before shaking his head. "No, sorry. No ride for you." Naomi frowned. "Why? I'm just heading downtown." The man averted his gaze and shrugged. "I'm not going in that direction." It was an obvious lie. A few seconds later, Naomi watched as a white woman behind her raised her hand. The same driver's expression instantly changed, and he gestured for her to get in. Naomi's heart clenched. She had seen this scene play out countless times, defended it in court, denounced it in speeches and conferences. But today, she was the one experiencing it firsthand. "Really?" she said, her voice calm but thick with tension. The driver, still indifferent, shrugged again. "Look, I pick my customers. That's just how it is." Naomi took a step back, her eyes still locked on him. A cold wind blew through the streets, but it was nothing compared to the chill rising inside her. What he didn't know was that she wasn't about to let this slide. She pulled out her phone, dialed a number, and pressed it to her ear. The driver smirked mockingly. "What, you gonna call the cops?" Naomi crossed her arms. "No. Someone who's really going to make you regret your choice." The taxi driver shifted into first gear, ready to drive off with his new passenger. But before he could even press the accelerator, a black vehicle with tinted windows screeched to a halt in front of him, blocking his way. The driver frowned, irritated. He rolled down his window, about to honk, but his expression changed the moment he saw an imposing figure step out of the car. William Carter, a black man in his 40s, towering, dressed in a custom-tailored three-piece suit, with a piercing gaze and an icy composure. His name was synonymous with power. He was the president of the Urban Transport Regulatory Authority, and more importantly, Naomi's brother. He walked slowly toward the taxi, glanced at Naomi, then fixed his gaze on the driver. "Is this the one?" he asked, his voice calm yet sharp. Naomi gave a simple nod. A cold shiver ran down the taxi driver's spine. "Look, I didn't do anything illegal. I just choose my customers, that's all." William Carter gave a humorless smile. "Of course. It's a private service after all, isn't it?" The driver eagerly nodded, relieved. Then, William Carter reached into his jacket and pulled out a badge, holding it up for the driver to see. "I'm here as a representative of the Urban Transport Regulatory Authority. Do you know what that means?" The driver swallowed hard. "Look, I'll take her now, okay? No need to make a big deal out of this." William studied him for a moment, then turned to Naomi. "Do you want to get into this taxi?" Naomi raised an eyebrow and replied in a neutral tone. "Absolutely not. But I do want to make sure no other woman has to go through this." William gave a slight nod before turning back to the driver, his gaze once again cold and unyielding. "Good. As of tonight, your official license is suspended. You are no longer allowed to operate a taxi until your case has been reviewed. And given your attitude, I doubt you'll be getting another license anytime soon." The driver's eyes widened in panic. No, wait. You can't do that. I have a family, a mortgage. You choose your customers, don't you?" William interrupted with an ironic smirk. "Well, from now on, it's the customers who will choose you or not." The white woman in the back seat, visibly uncomfortable, discreetly opened the door and stepped out, wanting no part in the unfolding situation. The driver's voice trembled as he pleaded, "Please, I can change. I won't do this again, I swear." Naomi looked at him for a moment, then slowly shook her head. "You had a choice. You made it consciously. Now, it's time to face the consequences. She turned away and stepped into her brother's car. Meanwhile, other taxis passed by on the street, but none stopped for the disgraced driver. The moral of the story: respect should never depend on race or social status. Judging someone based on prejudice can cost you far more than you ever imagined. What do you think of this story? Have you ever witnessed a similar injustice? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Not Just Stories for more narratives that aren't just stories, but realities too many people choose to ignore.